What's up, guys? So today we're taking a look at one of the biggest upgrades that I've made to any one of my gaming setups, which is going from a 144 hertz monitor to a 240 hertz gaming monitor. Now, it may not sound like a big difference going from 144 to 240 hertz in terms of refresh rate, but it is quite a big deal when you're actually gaming on your monitor. When you're playing a game like Fortnite or like Valorant or those high-paced action shooters, that extra bit of refresh rate definitely does help, as long as, of course, your graphics card can output that 240 hertz. And this monitor behind me is a really, really good deal to get your hands on a 240 hertz gaming monitor. So we have the InnoView 27-inch QHD 240 hertz gaming monitor behind us. So of course, throughout this video, we'll go out and detail all the specs, everything you can expect from this specific InnoView monitor, but we're also going to take a look at what it means to go from a 60 hertz, 75 hertz, 144 hertz monitor up to 240 hertz, and you can just see the difference in the gameplay and in the experience gaming on something with this high of a refresh rate. So let's jump into the video. We'll do a quick unboxing of this monitor, go through all of the specs and details that this thing has to offer. And then of course, we'll jump into some testing, some UFO tests for response time, some bloom tests just to make sure the backlight is good. All of that, we'll test all of that out. And of course, we'll test gameplay on this monitor to make sure that you're getting the best experience, or you can at least see what kind of experience you would get on a 240 hertz monitor like this. So let's just jump into the video and get into the unboxing. So first off, in the unboxing, we do get a DisplayPort cable, perfect if you don't have one on hand. And then, of course, we get the included ergonomic stand, a very nice looking stand and base combination. It is, of course, covered in plastic, but overall looks very, very clean, easy to like store your phone on and things like that. We also do get an external power brick, so no internal power on this monitor. That's okay. And then from the looks of this monitor on the back, really, really cool design, as well as a light ring around the center monitor mount. That can be either VESA mounted or you can use the included stand, but this is what the LED ring looks like on the back of the monitor. Overall, it looks really, really cool. And then from the rest of the monitor setup, both the aesthetics look of it, as well as the functionality and the port selection. So from the port selection perspective, we get our power input and audio out to DisplayPort and to HDMI. So from an unboxing experience, you honestly get a nice package inside of this box. You get your extra DisplayPort cable in case you don't have one on hand. That will, of course, power this thing at its native QHD 240 hertz resolution and frame rate. And overall, the stand and the overall setup on the monitor is super, super nice. But let's jump into kind of the ergonomics, what this monitor looks like, some of the things that this has to offer just from an aesthetics and an ergonomics perspective before we jump into the actual gameplay. So just to show you guys how this monitor base stand goes together. So the base and the monitor arm link together with like 3 little pegs, and then it's just a single thumb screw that you can tighten yourself. You don't even really need a screwdriver to get it securely in place, and that will lock in to the back of the monitor. Again, we can use VESA or we can use the stand, and overall there's a decent amount of ergonomic adjustments on this monitor stand. You get a bunch of rotation. You also do get very, very good height adjust as well. The weird thing about this one, you don't get super much or a lot of downward tilt. You do get quite a bit of upward tilt. And then in terms of sideways rotation, you can rotate this thing to make it a vertical mount, but it doesn't actually rotate all the way because the stand isn't tall enough. And from a button perspective, in terms of how to navigate the on-screen menu, you have 4 buttons: menu and OK, an up and down arrow, and then an exit button. So the on-screen menu is quite different. Like, there's some menu options in some very weird places. Like color settings has overdrive built into that portion of the menu. There's also some really weird ones in like audio settings where you actually get things like mean pixel response time information there, dark enhance, so I'm assuming that's screen darkening in the audio settings. A little unique there. Another one is once you go into the aspect menu option, that's where HDR and FreeSync are. So it's just like an interesting layout for the on-screen menu on this InnoView display. It's just something you got to get used to and like just kind of know where to go. So once you get your hands in the menu, it won't be that difficult to navigate around, but it's just a little bit weird of a setup in terms of where things are actually located inside of the menu. So now that we have all of that out of the way, we can of course focus on what you guys probably want to see, which is response time, refresh rate, overall color accuracy, things like that on this InnoView monitor. So let's jump into those tests so you guys can experience what it's like to game at 240 hertz, specifically on this InnoView monitor. So now it's time to actually jump into the test you guys are probably looking for. So this is what the 240 hertz UFO test looks like on this InnoView monitor. It's extremely clear, and like there's no, almost like zero leading edge ghosting and very little trailing edge ghosting. And as you can see on the left, that's 144 hertz, and it's just way quicker of both the response time as well as the refresh rate combined together to make this thing look really good. And in terms of bloom and things like that, so this panel is a quad HD, so it's full 2560 by 1440 at 27 inches. It is a VA panel, so you're not getting maybe the great color accuracy of IPS. It still does have 99% sRGB coverage, but maybe not the best color accuracy compared to an IPS or an OLED, of course, but still pretty good. The one thing that is really nice about this monitor is its 3001 contrast ratio because of that VA panel, so you do get very deep blacks and really good contrast between those lights and those darks, so very little bloom. And this monitor also does have HDR10, so on the left of the screen is HDR on the right is SDR. There's not a crazy difference. Overall, the screen does get a little bit brighter in HDR, but it's not like a crazy noticeable difference between HDR and SDR. It's a VA panel. It doesn't have any local dimming zones. It's not really meant for HDR, but it does have the capability built into the monitor if you do want to use it. But overall, like the colors look really good. The blacks are super dark. Overall, it's a pretty good image on this VA panel. And in terms of gameplay, this is what you're getting out of this monitor. We're going to show you a little bit of Fortnite with the speakers enabled off the monitor itself. So it does come with dual 3-watt or 2-watt speakers on this thing. Maybe not the loudest, as you can tell. You can kind of see how loud it is based on the mouse and the keyboard clicks over top of the sound coming from the monitor. But overall, it's really not that bad. It's nice to have that included if you maybe want to save a little money for a desk setup of speakers and just use the monitor for the time being. So I'll let you guys watch this, listen to the gameplay, watch the screen, see what it's like to game at 240 hertz. And it's just really nice to have the ability to kind of, I don't know, it just makes the gameplay feel so much smoother playing at 240, even compared to 144, which isn't that crazy of a difference. It's so crisp of a gameplay experience playing at 240, just those little micro adjustments that you're able to make at that high of a refresh rate. But overall, I'll let you guys watch and take it in. So with everything that comes in the box and the experience of gaming on this 27-inch QHD 240 hertz panel, it is a really hard deal to beat to get your hands on a monitor like this for $380, which is the list price on Amazon for this monitor, but you can right now get the $80 coupon that drops it at $299. So I made a video a while back claiming that the Asus VG27AQ1A is the best monitor you can get your hands on under $300. I might have to change that video or change that title because this one might actually be the best gaming monitor you can get under $300, being that it's 240 hertz, the same 27-inch QHD resolution and size. Overall, this is a really, really good monitor, and it's a really tough monitor to beat at the price point. So if you guys enjoyed the video, definitely give it a thumbs up. If you have any questions or comments, be sure to leave those down below. If you haven't already, get subscribed to the channel, and I'll see you guys in the next one.